What's up guys, welcome back to episode 2 of our modding series. Today we do blocks. So let's get started, and we're going to create, in our tutorial mod package, we're going to create a new package called blocks. And in here we're going to also create 2 more packages, which are going to be init and base. So what we want to do is first of all create the initialization class, and I'm just going to call this tblocks. So obviously you don't want to call it blocks or block, since they exist in Minecraft. And I've actually fixed the problem with all of this messing around, so got a nice keybind set up to allow me to come into full screen a lot easier. So what we want to do in here is, this is where we're going to be storing our blocks. So to create your block, let's say we want to make a block of copper, then we would do public static final block copper. This is a class that we have not yet created, and we'll call it copper equals, or whatever you want it to be called, equals new block copper. And into that we're going to be passing in the unlocalized name, which will just be block copper, or you can have copper underscore block if you want to. And above this we need to actually annotate it, so we're going to have to do this with all of these, with all of our blocks. We're going to annotate it as an object holder, and in here you pass in your ID, so that's tutorial.id or mod ID, plus a colon, and then plus your unlocalized name. And this can actually, if you want to, be its own sort of single string. So there you go. So this class is going to need to be created, and this will go in blocks. If blocks does not show up on this list, you can just click the 3 dots and select it. And this, for now, we're just going to leave. So, oh whoops, I meant to press F10. So what we're going to do is, we're going to do this a little bit differently to how most people do it, because I found a fairly straightforward way of simplifying the process of creating all of your blocks and just making it a little bit easier for you. Let's first of all create this constructor in block copper, just so that it will accept the string. I don't know why I just underscored that. I never underscore things, what the hell? Strange. Oh, there we go. So that'll at least be happy now. So we're going to create a new class in our base class here, and this can just be something like tblock, or you can put like your mod ID where t is. And this is going to extend block. So we're going to need to add the constructor that matches, like so. And we're going to get rid of, in fact no, we're not, we're going to first of all get rid of this in. We know it's coming in through the constructor. We're going to change this slightly, so we're going to do string unlocalized name. I was just going to call it name, but I've decided against that. We'll do creative tab, or creative tabs tab, material, map color. We also want to do float hardness, float resistance, and we probably want to do sound type, sure. And in here, this is where we're going to set all of the actual names for the item. So we're going to do this dot set unlocalized name, unlocalized name. Oh no, sorry, I stand corrected. It's actually not unlocalized name, it's your main class tutorial dot append mod ID if you've made that function. If you don't have append mod ID, go and look back in the previous episode, because we added that in at the end of the file. And in here we're going to pass in the unlocalized name. Alternatively, if you don't want to do it that way, you can just do tutorial.modID plus a colon, plus the unlocalized name if you want to do it that way instead. Like that would go in place of what's already here. So then we're also going to want to do set registry name. Wow, registry name. And this one is just that without the ID. Next we'll do this dot set creative tab, and we'll just set that to tab. This dot set hardness to hardness. This dot set resistance, resistance. This dot set sound type, sound type. And you can add anything else in here if you want to change any of the other block properties, which you can look at by just doing this dot when I can press the dot key, that is. So you can see there's quite a lot of different values you can change. You can also override any of these, but remember this is going to affect all of your blocks. So as you know, Minecraft have started using JSON models, so we're going to need to load in a JSON model for our block, and the way we're going to do that is I'm actually going to create a util package into which we will just create well, we're going to create our interface, so let's change the type to interface and call it init model. That'll do. Bit of a voice break there. So all we're going to do in here is to say void initialize model. That's it. Save and close. So our custom block class is going to implement this. And we're also going to want to implement the method like so. And in initialize model, all we have to do is, first of all, let's annotate this as a client only thing, because we only want to do this on the client side. Servers do not initialize models because servers do not render. So model loader dot set custom model resource location, and we're going to do item. This is Minecraft's item class. Dot get item from block. This 0 new model resource location, and in here we're just going to put get registry name inventory. Well, first of all, I'm going to come back into this view. I need to remember to do that. Inventory. That is not how you spell it. Yeah, sure. There we go. We got there in the end. Let's suppress that. Okay, so that's that done. Now we are going to need to add more things to this class, so keep it around. But if we come into our block copper class, we want this to now extend tBlock. And as you can see, it's not going to be happy about the constructor, so if we come in here and just copy the contents of this constructor into a comment, close that a second, we can then do super, and we're going to pass through the unlocalized name, that creative tabs dot whatever tab you want. We're just going to do building blocks for now. Hardness, resistance, whatever they want to be. Your material. I actually do not know exactly what the material. This is the material for stone, by the way. Strange naming. Well, it's not strange naming. We know it's, you know, stone is rock, but it's the fact that they want to call it rock in the code, and then in the game they want to call it stone. They do that with a lot of things. I think sugar canes are called reeds, various things like that. It's a bit odd. And this is not how you spell colour. Let's just do iron, I don't know. And then sound type will affect what sound you get when you walk on it. Could actually do anvil. I don't know if that's going to be a bit odd. Maybe we could just get rid of this comment. So there you go. And because you've got this, every time you extend your tBlock, you don't have to do the, you know, the setting of all of these values every time. You just do it in the one place and you're done. So in the init class, let's create. So we're going to create an array for all of our blocks. Public static final and this is going to be tBlock, or whatever your custom block class was. It's going to be an array. I'm going to call it blocks equals new tBlock array. tBlock, that's such a strange sounding thing. tBlock. Would you like a block of tea? No, I want a cup of tea. Right, so in here you're just going to list all of your blocks. So copper, let's say you had another one that was called zinc. Right? So you literally just list them in here. That's all you need to do. And then as long as they're in here, they will get registered and the models will get registered. So to do the models, we're going to say @side only side.client. I'm going to say public static void initialize block models. The naming of that's not too important. You can just say initialize models, but I'm actually going to put block in there because we're going to do the same thing for items, and it's nice to just easily be able to glance at your code and know exactly what it's referring to. So this, we don't need to do like every single block in here because of the way we're putting it into an array. So all we have to do in here is say for I init model, we could just call this block in blocks. We're going to do block dot initialize model. That's it. So for the registering, we're going to do a public static void register blocks, and in here we're going to do final registry event dot register, and the type is block, and we're just going to call that event. Okay, so in here we're just going to say final iForge registry block registry equals event.getRegistry, and then all you have to do in here is actually just do registry.registerAll blocks. So down here is where you will actually be in the future. When we actually get to it, we're going to be registering tile entities here, and the way we will do that is like so. So I'm going to put this code in as a comment for now for when we get to this stuff, which will be fairly soon. Something along those lines. So another thing that we're going to need to do is we're actually going to need to register item blocks, because I don't know if you can remember, but in previous versions of Forge you'd have to make a model for the item as well for when it's in your inventory. So there's an easy way to do that thanks to the way that we have set this up. We're going to go back into our base tBlock class, and in here we're going to create this simple little function, public void register item block, and we're going to pass in a final registry event dot register, and the type is item this time. Item event, and in here we're just going to do event.getRegistry dot register, not register all, just register new item block, and we'll pass in this as the item, and we want to do dot set registry name get registry name, and it's not going to like that because apparently it might be null. It's not going to be null, so we're going to suppress that. Okay, so because of the way we've done that, we can very easily do the item block registration. So let's back in our init class again. We're just going to do like public static void register item blocks, and we'll pass in a, I keep doing that, it's really annoying, pass in a register. I'm just going to copy this from up here, not with the keyboard apparently, change this type here to item and import that. And then for this we're just going to say for, and again we're just going to do, well this time we're going to do our custom block class, so tBlock, or whatever yours is. And then you can say block in blocks, just like before. And then we're just going to do block dot register item block and pass in the event. So that's pretty much code-wise most of that is done now. And like I say, the way you will add more blocks is you will just add one of these. So like, I don't know, block zinc or whatever would go down here, and then you just list it here. That's literally how easy that would be. And obviously you would want to make the class. I'm not actually going to create this because I don't have a texture for it. Maybe I will. Who knows? In fact, yeah, we will actually. Sure. So, just come in here and copy all this, I guess. And then just change the name. And so because of that, now that will register. So we need to do the actual models, the resources. So let's actually set up our resources directory. So we're going to create a new directory. We do want to do this one at a time, by the way. Assets. Then we want to do another directory. Let's do lang. Oh, no, sorry, that's wrong. Delete that. It's assets, and then it's your mod ID. Tutorial. Then it's lang. When it wants to open, thank you. And then we want to do block states. These all need to be lowercase, so that's something to bear in mind in 1.12 is that everything must be lowercase within your resources. And that includes file names. So we want to do models, and we want to do textures. Inside models we're going to do block and item. Inside textures we're going to do blocks and items. So I think that should be correct. I will leave that on screen for a second for you, so you can make sure you've got it right. Pause the video and check. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we need to define the block state model, JSON file thing. So we're going to name this the same as the unlocalized name, which was block_copper, and then remember to include .json at the end. See, I have actually already recorded this tutorial, and last time I forgot to do that and it messed me up quite a bit, so decided to redo it. And for this we're just going to do some fairly straightforward stuff here. We're just going to do some braces, and then we're going to say forge_marker, and the value for that is 1. Then we're going to do defaults, and open up some brackets, and in here we're just going to say model. The value for that will be your mod ID, so tutorial, colon, and then the unlocalized name, which was block_copper. After the defaults, we're going to do variants. What the there we go. So in here we just need to do 2. The first one is normal, and the way you open this up is with square brackets and then those. And then we're just going to do the second one, which is going to be inventory. Now you don't actually have to define these, you can just leave them blank, but you do have to have this because I'm fairly sure, from what I remember, is this will crash or you'll have errors and your thing won't load properly if that doesn't exist. So we'll do the same thing for the zinc, even though we don't actually have a texture for it. So that's all you have to do, and what this is doing is this is just pointing it to the model in here. So let's create that now. Let's create another file. It's going to be the exact same name, block_copper.json. It does have to be this way. So the way we're going to do this is with back up. We're going to parent it to block slash cube underscore all. Now you can do orientable here. If you want to define different textures for different faces, that is what you would put. And then in what comes after you do textures, you would then say like front, and then you would define the texture. So it would be, the way you do this is your mod ID, so tutorial, colon, blocks, slash, and then whatever your texture name is. So we're just going to say block underscore copper, because that's going to be the name of the PNG file. But let's say you wanted to do block copper front, then you would do that, and then you can say, you know, side, and you can change the texture for the side, right? So that's how you're going to do that, but I am not going to create an orientable. I'm just going to do a cube underscore all, which means that all the faces will be the same, and we're going to put the name here as all, and it's just going to be block copper, like that. Fairly straightforward, does not need too much explanation. So I have actually created a texture for the copper. Here it is. It looks like a block of cheese. It's terrible. I did it in Paint in about 5 seconds. So I'm sorry, but I am no artist and did not want to spend too long on that. So for now I'm just going to copy and paste that and just rename the other one to zinc, because I'm lazy. So we'll also need to name these, because otherwise they are just going to be called tile.block something something copper dot name, and you don't want that. And you see this in a lot of mods, people forget to do this. So we're going to do ian underscore us dot lang in our lang package here, and this is where things get a bit odd, so I'm going to refer to my other mod on the other screen here, because they changed this and they keep changing it and it's annoying. So the way we're going to do our blocks, I'm just going to annotate this. So that's what this little hashtag symbol does, it tells it to ignore this line. The way this is now laid out, as opposed to just being your, you know, tile dot whatever, it's now tile dot mod ID colon, and then the unlocalized name dot name equals, and then we can just say copper block. We'll do the same for the zinc. So that should be good. Let's go ahead and test that. We need to actually register them. Thank God it told me about that. So I have already done this, like I said. So in your common proxy, you are going to want to come down to your register blocks, and you're just going to want to call into your init class here, which is tblocks, and call register blocks. And then in register items, you're going to want to call register item blocks, like so. So I do apologize for forgetting about that. It's, you know, kind of important. In the client registry, as you can see, yeah, we need to initialize the block models in here, which is tblocks dot initialize block models. That's on the client proxy, so that way we can actually, if you keep getting things like unused imports because you've deleted something like I had, you just want to come up to your Java, right click it and do reformat code, and make sure you've got optimize imports checked and just run that, and it'll go through and tidy up all of your code and make it look neat and tidy. You just want to hit Control S. I believe actually there's an option as well to show an asterisk. Let's do this in the settings, to show an asterisk on the little tab here where the file has been modified. So let's check that, then that way you can just see if something has been modified. So I think we should be good now. Let's try that again. Okay, so it looks like it's actually not found something here. Ah yes, because we didn't define our block zinc JSON file. Derp. Wondering if I should incorporate a derp counter into our episodes, because I know it's going to happen a lot. We've already had several this episode. So there we go. Let's try that again. So hopefully in here we have copper block and zinc block. Now obviously if I had done a different texture for these, they would look different. Ah, yes, the sound type is the sound when you place the block. I remember this now, so I feel like I derped a little bit there. The thing I was thinking of was the step sound. Is that not a thing anymore? What's how? What? Who? When? Okay, it was the step sound. I don't know what it is now. And that's just the error that we always get. So yeah, I mean, these blocks are now actual blocks. You can mine them, obviously, with any tool at the moment. I don't even know if, like... No. Let's just try an axe. Okay, so it is actually just pickaxes. I'm not sure. Suppose I don't know how you sorry, just assumes that it's going to be a pickaxe block. I mean, wood's not a pickaxe block. Wood's an axe block. You axe it. You don't pickaxe it. I mean, some people do, and it triggers you like crap. But yeah, so obviously you can change this. You can come into your blocks and do the I think it's the tool. Yeah, so you've got is tool effective, which is actually something you would want to override. So let's say you wanted your zinc block to be, for whatever reason, harvested by axes. You would do is tool effective, and then you would want to, I guess, return something like type is equal to axe. I don't actually know what this string type is because I guess they've changed things once again. Something like that. And then that would just say, okay, if the type is equal to axe, then yeah, sure, it's effective. If not, then it's not effective. Is there actually... Let's just do... Okay, I don't know what Minecraft would have called this. Yeah, so here we go. That's what they're named. Let's actually give that a try, just for the sake of curiosity. And in fact, let's very quickly change this. Look at my amazing texture work, holy crap. There we go. If you're not blown away by my art skills, then I'm sorry. I tried. I tried really, really hard. You know, I'm actually sweating a little bit from the amount of effort that I've just put into that. Okay, so now you can see our zinc block. Should hopefully. The game's having a bit of a moment here. Let's put it in full screen. Oh wow, that looks horrible on OBS. Let's not put that on full screen. So let's do game mode C. Grab ourselves a zinc block, or a stack of them. Whoops. Suppose we don't need that now. Okay. That does not apparently work. Well, whatever. Go away. Okay, so another thing you can do is you can actually come into here, and if you wanted to add something in the tooltips for all of your blocks, you could do that. So you can override add information, and you can do something like if this is something that I like to do. So let's say you wanted to display the name of your mod at the bottom, so that people know what mod the item is from, regardless of if they have, you know, NEI or something installed. So you do something like if tooltip.length size, is greater than 0, then you would do tooltip.add, just add a blank line, and then you do tooltip.add, and you can do something like chat formatting .blue, or whatever colour you want, plus, and then you can just do tutorial.name, and that's going to, if there's other stuff on there, it's going to add a blank line, and then it's going to add that. So in your actual block classes here, if you wanted to add more to the tooltip, so you don't just want the name but you also want some information about it, then you can override add information, and before this super call, which is going to add that stuff from before, you can add your content. So you could do like and you can of course mix and match these. So there we go. And you could also have extra information. So if you wanted to do where it says hold left shift for more information, then you can say if not keyboard, and this is going to want to be, I believe that's the one we want, dot is key down, and then we say keyboard dot L shift. So this is saying if the shift key is not being held down, then we're going to do tooltip.add. We'll actually put up a blank line after this stuff as well. So we'll do tooltip.add, and then we'll say chat formatting, formatting.grey. Is there a dark grey, or is that just, yeah, we'll do dark grey plus hold L shift for more, or for advanced details, I don't know. And then you can just say else, and this is where you would actually put the stuff that would be contained within that menu. So you could add, I don't know, the unlocalized name. I'm just being really super uncreative right now. You don't actually need these this calls. I was just using them to actually make sure I get the right values. Let's do this, I don't know, green. Sure, and you can put your other stuff in here as well. Obviously this isn't the kind of stuff you'd actually want to be putting in here, I'm just using this because it makes for an example. So because we have our super call at the bottom here, it's still going to add the mod name at the bottom. So now we are hopefully going to see, yes, because we only did this for the copper block, you can see it's showing the values there, and it's got the hold left shift for advanced details. We hold shift and there are set advanced details. So that's how you do the tooltips. So you can see every block that we add will automatically have that little space and then tutorial mod, and it will always space itself out properly. So yeah, that's not something that's necessary, but if you wanted to do something like that, you can. That's how you do it. So that's it for blocks. We're done. It's not too difficult. So as a little recap, in your init class, you just have to create one of these and then add it to your list. That's it. And then create your assets. And of course your class, but that doesn't exactly need to be super fleshed out. It just needs to have whatever you need. Obviously I'm not going to go through too much the things you can do with blocks. In the future we're going to look at various things like rendering differently, stuff like that, but for now we're done with them. So next time we will move on to items. Thanks for watching.